I'm sitting in a theatre watching a film, not the same film as you.
Hello, Dullbedsitblogger here, and well, probably about a week ago, I went to a local arts centre to see the documentary No Ideas But in Things, which is a documentary about the modern contemporary composer Alvin Lucier. His most famous piece of music, which is the only one that I knew prior to this documentary, is called I'm Sitting in a Room. I've actually made a video version of it, which there'll be a link down below for your entertainment and delectation. But with this piece of music, he recorded himself saying a statement which starts off, I'm sitting in a room, not the same room that you're sitting in. And he basically played that out to the room that he was in and then recorded it back and then played that back. And he continued to do that until all the semblance of the words has gone, and it's basically the resonance of the room that's left. And I was quite interested to find out more about this composer and the stuff that he's done. And this is a good documentary, very interesting. A lot of ideas of like, oh yeah, that is why I kind of like a lot of the kind of noise and kind of experimental music. There's this sort of thing that it's very individual to you. You're going to hear it differently to someone who's next door to you. And Alvin Lucier kind of really worked with music like that, using the way that it's a piece of music will sound, or a sound, not necessarily a piece of music, but a sound will sound very different in one room to another, and one person is going to hear a different sound to another. And he also liked to play with sort of like little sonic tricks of like where various sounds will work together and create another sound, but that actual sound doesn't actually happen. It happens like inside your head, if that makes sense. There was an interesting piece of music he had where there was a sine wave, which is just a very pure sound, slowly sliding up the scale of an oboe, while an oboist played sliding notes to kind of coincide with them. And there gets to this moment as the sounds get nearer and nearer one another, where there's sort of like gets a, and it doesn't actually beep. It's just how the sound physically works in your head. So it's very interesting. There are lots of other bits that he done, including stuff using alpha waves, where he'll get he'll be connected up to an alpha wave amplifier, which will work some instruments. So it's kind of different, and it's quite an interesting thing he did as a kind of drum solo. And for alpha waves, you need to be with no visual stimulation, but not asleep. So you got to be relaxed but not asleep, and it was to do like a drum solo with these alpha waves. And if you're playing the drums, you're concentrating and looking at everything to so it kind of makes this like interesting idea behind drumming and music. I think generally he had his ideas were very interesting in music. He was a contemporary of Stephen Reich and John Cage and stuff like that. And it gave me lots of things that I want to sort of dip in and find out about. there was he was involved in a group called the Sonic Arts Union, which they included sort of like homemade synthesizers and using sound and making music in different ways. Which is I'm going to do some looking into them and what they did. It's all very interesting, and if you're interested in unusual sounding music or interesting ways of making music, I really recommend you check out the film. It's very interesting, and it was one of those films that was like, yes, oh, that's why I'm interested in the way that piece of music works, or the way I feel when I'm listening to, noise music live. It is such an interesting experience because it's an all over thing, and I love the kind of way that your brain remixes it. And a lot of Alvin Lucier's music is about that. It's very simple music, and it's sort of like experimenting with almost pure sound. So that's that one. Check it out if you get a chance. Well worth having a look at. Bye bye.